Feeling unwanted by others is painful. It's a feeling that I know all too well throughout my schooling days. Teenagers can be quite sadistic in how they mess with or push away individuals like you and me. Sometimes, as a response, we tend to isolate ourselves from our peers and push others away. Nowadays, with all the media there is to consume, it's never been easier to lock yourself in a room and take a break from all the social norms and expectations of the world. But there are limits to that escapism. One day we may just wake up and wonder where all the time went. That we were chipping away at something valuable that we may never get back. I believe that's what Sato thought as a hikikomori in Welcome to the NHK. It's an anime about the existential struggles of modern day life, and Sato, the main character, has spent nearly 4 years of his life locked in his tiny apartment, only venturing out for groceries. He has nobody. No friends, no girlfriend, no peers. He spends 3/4 of his days asleep, and the remaining quarter lying on the floor. It isn't until a girl named Misaki knocks on his door and tries to get him out of his hikikomori ways that his life becomes much more interesting. From then on, the show dives into the depressing truths of social withdrawal and misfortune. Welcome to the NHK features a wide range of characters who embody their own deeply ingrained flaws and mental problems that most other anime would shy away from. Characters in this anime make mistakes. They lash out, make horrible decisions, and blame the world for the consequences. Others do everything right, yet life still throws curveballs at them that shatters their chances at living a decent life. Sato, at the middle of it all, shares the most flaws. His life undergoes many changes throughout the anime, such as new bonds with neighbors and old friends, and new situations that force him out of his comfort zone. He faces his social anxiety, his parents' judgment, and the many struggles of the people he meets. A standard protagonist would face this adversity and grow, vowing not to make the same mistakes again, and to live a normal life. Yet Sato never reaches this clarity. He makes the same mistakes often, and often lapses into his hikikomori ways despite all he's experienced. It's not until the rug's pulled out over him, when he has to choose between getting a job or starving to death, that he finally decides to get a job, in arguably the most depressing and melancholic scene in NHK. There is no happy ending, no moment where Sato regains all of his motivation and drive. Instead, we see the confirmation that Sato will only make the right decision to change his life when he has no other choice but to. Because he's human. And because we're human at the end of the day, and I'm human at the end of the day, we relate to that. For some of us, we don't strive to achieve some goal, but instead to try and avoid pain as best as we can, and to embrace comfort wherever it lies. It's why when we do fall into comfort, like scrolling in bed or on the toilet, that it can seem like a Herculean task to shut the phone off and go for a walk, or to exercise, or to meet new people. This is what makes Sato such a relatable character, and the show uses that relatability to make its events all the more heartbreaking. Yet, for some audience members like me, I find that relatability to be a bit of a poison. When I first watched NHK, I was in my senior year of high school, ready to embark on college, yet filled with anxiety on all the possible choices I could make. NHK provided a possible future in the form of Sato, a path of failure and regret. I connected to Sato based off his social anxiety and his self-worth issues, yet I still couldn't fully understand the destitution of the situation. I was still a high schooler after all. It's been a year and a half since then, and I've rewatched NHK. What I realize now is, despite relating to Sato even more, I find that feeling of relatability to be providing a negative veil within my life, because I've even more envisioned myself being like him, which is, again, not good. Basically, I've been using NHK as a sort of fuel source for my sad boy hours, or whatever you like to call it, and that's not exactly a good thing. I don't mean to shame or push away anybody who is in Sato's situation. I know that for many people, they don't choose to fall into Sato's situation. But I do want to say that for those who do have the choice, we shouldn't waste that choice. And we should use that choice, because in the end, Sato's story is sort of like a cautionary tale, a tale not to end up in the rut that Sato has ended up in. And I feel a little rude saying this, because throughout the show we relate to Sato a lot, and he's almost like someone we can be vulnerable with. But still, and the show states this outright towards the end, that Sato is a loser. He is someone who is a complete failure. But he's a human being at the end of the day. And we can still relate to people, but strive not to be like them. And that is NHK.